Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me on another very lovely day. I am in, actually where am I right now? I am in Fazeli Cellars. We're about an hour away from San Diego, California. Look at this view. Look at that view though. That is an Infiniti Q60S, I believe they call it a S Red. I'm not quite sure of the nomenclature, but it is Infiniti's new flagship sports coupe. It is the 3-liter with twin turbos, and it produces around 400 horsepower and 450 newton meters of torque. That's what they told me. I don't know how much a newton meter is as far as how it applies to foot-pounds, but let's just say it's a lot. This car, I have just driven it. I can't give you any real driving impressions as of yet, but I will have those to you soon. For now, we're gonna take a look around this brand new car. It looks amazing. I love the way this car looks. It's very reminiscent of the Eau Rouge. It's very reminiscent of their concept cars, and like just this front fascia. It's very stylized to look like the human eye. Like this this headlight has a lot of organic features. But we're gonna go around and I'm gonna show you everything I really like about this car, everything that makes this car special, and yeah, I think that's about it. I'm done rambling. So here she is. This is a 2017 Infiniti Q60S, and this is the 3.0T. So this is a brand new engine. The engine is called a VR30 DDTT, so it's direct injection, twin turbo. This is a loose derivative of the VR38 DETT from the Nissan GTR. Now, this shares actually more components with the VQ, as it has a lot of DNA from that. I'm not quite sure what that means. They told us that in the briefing yesterday, but I'm guessing that just means that it's a 60-degree V6 and that it has similar sort of the sharpest throttle response and exhaust note. But it is a pretty monstrous engine. I like the way it sounds. It looks like it's probably going to be just as reliable as the VQs ever were. But going around this car, it's to me, I mean, I've never really seen Japanese cars to be that desirable as far as just aesthetic-wise. Yeah, they're really great performers, but they were never really, I mean, they never evoked a sense of passion, unless you're talking about, you know, the NSXs, which was more of a nostalgia thing anyway. But this is almost, dare I say, super-like. You see the curved haunches right here, and it's very form follows function type thing. So you do have this sort of fake vent here, but again, it all looks very nice. I don't think you have any functional aero, but it does have like a styled by science type thing. One thing that Infiniti made sure we knew of was this is the crescent C-pillar. Honestly, I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. I think it could have made a little bit more sense if they just brought it out to here, but I'm more of an old school guy anyway, so maybe it's just me not getting with the times. But everything else, I mean, look at the tire gap, the wheel gap between the tire and the body, and it's pretty much just uniform all around, which is really what you want to see. I mean, for me, I'd probably lower it a little bit, but that's just because I modify a lot of cars, and you know, I make them my own and ruin them in my own special way. But this does come with pretty decent sized brakes. They're 4-piston front and 2-piston rear. I believe that these are Brembos. I don't think Infiniti has strayed away from that formula. But before I go inside, I'm going to pop the hood and give you a peek of, okay, where's the hood latch? Okay, right here. So this is actually the first time I'm seeing the engine in the car. I've seen it on an engine stand, but never in the car. All right, so this looks a lot like what you'd see in a G37, Q50, that sort of thing. It has the same basic engine layout that lends itself well to, you could probably have, you know, strut bars or something off along the top. But you can see that there's a lot of this turbo piping. There's a lot of engine, you know, underneath this cover. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. And one of the reasons why there's a lot of, you know, you see these wires and whatnot, this engine is a little bit unlike a traditional turbocharged engine. Now, what that means is it has a water-to-air intercooler. I believe it has two of them. So the water-to-air intercoolers, they sit right there, and it has an electric pump system that pumps water, and it doesn't have a traditional air-to-air intercooler. The reason why is because it takes up way less space and it reduces turbo lag. And turbo lag on these cars, especially for a 3-liter that's making 400 horsepower, you definitely don't want, because if that turbo lag hits you, and this is rear-wheel drive, and you're going along a corner, you're going to spin out into the nearest tree. But now this is all controllable, and it's very, very smooth. Another thing that they have is, I can't really see it here. I don't know if you guys can see it. Nestled somewhere down there is this thing they call the turbo speed sensor. So the turbo speed sensor, it measures how fast the turbo is actually spinning. And based on that, they can give it an accurate amount of boost. So that's really cool. I've never seen a car with that feature. So these turbos, usually turbos spin like around 150,000 RPM, which is crazy in itself. These turbos spin at 220,000 RPM, which I'm not sure what the longevity of these things are. I'm sure it's fine. And the engineers have assured me that during the warranty cycle of the car, they guarantee it for that time. But yeah, this technology is pretty awesome. Going back down here, you see this huge grille. And that's a trademark of Infiniti. You see it on a lot of concepts. And these sensors right here are used by the Infiniti, the driving assist programs. So that's going to sense the cars in front of them. That's going to sense the cars to the side. It's going to sense lane markers, all that. Let's step inside. So the design in this car, it's supposed to be like, they say it's like a hand fitting into a glove, that sort of thing. Like, this is supposed to look like a driver's glove, like a fitted driver's glove. And it is incredibly hot in there just because it's it's like 90 degrees in here. But let me sit in and turn on the car, get some, blast my AC. All right. The gauge cluster is very reminiscent of what Infiniti does across all their cars. But going over here, you see it's a simple screen setup. You have the navigation screen here. You have this other touch screen, which is more glass-like, and it just follows itself all the way down here. It's a little reminiscent of Lexus, actually. You have the drive mode select, which you can choose personal. I mean, you know, I don't know if you want me to show you my settings, but they're personal. You have Sport Plus, which you should have on all the time. Sport is for wussies. Standard is, I have no idea who would choose that. Eco is for people who wish they drove a Prius, and Snow is ridiculous because why the hell would you ever drive this car in snow? But you can if you want to, so that's that. So one thing I sort of don't like is this finish. This is a silver carbon fiber weave, and it's underneath this lacquer, and I'm not sure. It looks a little bit like this car went to a strip club and didn't wash itself off. It has glitter all over it, and I don't really like it. I think it looks a little bit cheap for the car. Now, everything else, the materials look fine. They feel fine. I would like this to have a little bit more padding, especially for a car of this price bracket. This car costs $60,000, and that's not a small chunk of change, to be honest. This is a little thin, even though it is padded. I like this. I like that there's stitching on the top. I like that there's a nice contrast stitching. It's white on black. These white seats are extremely, good looking, and I don't know if they have any cooling functions. I couldn't get the cooling functions to. All right, it says auto, high, mid, low, off. I think they're just heated, and I'm not sure if there's a cooling function as a option or anything, but all I have is that one heated seat switch. So for 60 grand, I'd want a cooled seat. I'm not looking for massaging seats like Mercedes, but I do want a nice cooled backside. But what's interesting about this car is that it has this adaptive steering thing. Well, it's currently unavailable because my hood's up. But the adaptive steering, if you press this button, it has like a bunch of driving modes and selectable gear ratios. And what it does and how it's interesting is that this steering wheel is not actually connected to the wheels. It is a completely steer-by-wire system. There is a fail-safe. There is like a physical steering rack, a steering linkage going to the steering rack. But this, for the most part, is not connected to the wheels in a physical way. This goes into 3 ECUs, and then that gets transplanted into the actual wheels. So me doing this, that will translate differently into the wheels depending on the drive mode. So I'm on snow now. Let me not put on snow so the next person doesn't get a crappy experience. But yeah, me doing this will translate very, very differently based on the drive modes. So if I want a sharp throttle, sharp steering response, I can put on Sport Plus, and if I want something a little slower, I'll put it on Standard. What Sport Plus also does, what the driving modes also do, is that they firm up the suspension. Now this has, these have, if you look at that blue one over there, I think that blue one might not have this suspension. I think that one has a standard suspension, which is just basically a nice firm shock. But this one has the magnetic the same type of suspension that you would get in like a magnetic ride, the magnetorheological suspension that is on any modern sports coupe. And again, I can't give you any driving impressions, but make your own conclusions on the efficacy of that system. I do like how everything is a little bit driver focused. It's not completely driver focused because this is symmetrical-ish. They call it an asymmetrical design, but it is driver focused. It all kind of tapers down and everything's within reach, and that's not a bad. It's not a bad thing for a car like this. It is a big car. It's like 3,600 pounds, but it does fit you like a glove. And I like the steering wheel. I like the size of it. So yeah, I think that's going to be it. I'm going to give you my driving impressions for this car, and we're going to be driving it through some very nice twisty mountain roads, and I really, really can't wait for that. So, driving impressions of the Infiniti Q60S. We are on the highway. We're on Route 15 North, and I have all the driver assists on. Now, it's a little bit weird because with a Mercedes, it does this like kind of ping-pongy thing between the lanes. And this, if you take a look at the road that we're on, and like we're at a bit of a curved, like an angled road, it's staying in the lane. Like if you can get a shot of this, yeah, just like it's staying in the lane. I'm not touching anything with the wheel. There's cars next to me. I have my hands a little bit, like on the wheel just in case, but this thing is holding its own. Look, I am not touching the wheel. And what's weird about this, I mean, something a little peculiar, these usually tell you, we're getting a little close to that bus. These systems usually tell you to put your hands back on the wheel, but this isn't telling me that. Like right now, it's sensing that there's a little bit of a of a turn in the road, and it's hugging that right marker pretty hard, but it's not going into the next lane. So, I mean, I don't. It's supposed to be something that senses. All right, this is a little odd. It's supposed to be something that senses the lane markers on the road, but it's not a perfect system, and I think Tesla still has it beat, but this is a really good step in the right direction. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get off the highway, and I'm going to take you on some twisties to see what this car is capable of. Now, this has like a lot of dynamic steering controls, and this has a Sport Plus mode for the suspension and the engine, so we should get all those 400 horsepower in this 3-liter twin-turbo engine. So I have this car, and we're in the mountains. There's a bit of twisties going on here. I have it in manual mode, and everything's on Sport Plus, and this thing just grips for days. I mean, if you want to take a look at what the road looks like, just this turbo engine just makes all the right noises. I actually hope that they do some kind of exhaust cutout or something, because I'd like it to make a little more noise. You know, something that makes the exhaust burble a little bit more. But right now, I mean, the throttle response is akin to something like the 350Z, the G35 or G37. It's that sharp stuff that you would attribute to VQ or the GTR engine. I really like the way this car handles. It's just, I'm not going to say it handles on rails. The steering is a little bit numb, and a few people have said that it's a little twitchy. But just take a look at this. Take a look at this road. We're going to have a nice, I guess, right-hand sweeper at 50 miles an hour, and I'm going to be going a little bit over 50, just to show you what I'm talking about. And this thing just goes. Oh yeah. So the paddle shifters are a little more laggy than I'd like. The paddle shifters have, you know, it's a traditional 7-speed automatic. It's not a DSG or MCT or DCT gearbox. But at more than half throttle, it makes sense. Anything less than that, it becomes sort of a squidgy mess, and there's like 2 to 3 second shift times. But right now, when it makes the most sense and the car is sort of coming alive in its own element, oh yeah. The brakes are pretty good too. 4-piston front and 2-piston rear Brembos with, they're not carbon ceramic or anything special like that. They're just steel rotors. But I don't think you need any more than that on the street. It's a pretty damn good car. For 60 grand, I'm not sure I'd pay 60 grand for this, just because I think it's a little bit too much money for, you know, a car of this ilk. You can get something that would whoop this thing on the used car market, but let's say you just wanted something new. I don't think you'd get something with this much performance in mind. Maybe a base model BMW or like a 335 or something like that. That would be okay, but then you have to worry about reliability and longevity, and this engine is likely gonna last you a long time. So plus, you know, you can always modify it, you can always chip it, you can always tune it. This thing was, they didn't give me any official numbers as to how much more power they can get, but I said, you know, 500 horsepower, and they said that would probably be no problem. So, you know, we'll see what happens when the tuners get their hands on this. But for now, I think that is going to be it. I'm driving back to Rancho Valencia. That's our hotel stop for today, and those are my driving impressions. So as always, if you like this video, you can like, comment, subscribe. If you didn't like the video for any reason, you can hit that dislike button. It's down there. You can do anything you want with it. I like feedback. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day with the Infiniti Q60. I'd like to thank Infiniti and Jalopnik for bringing me out here. And yeah, this day has been pretty damn good. So I will see you again later when I'll be working on some cars of my own, and or maybe some cars that I don't own. So I'll see you later. Bye.